is currently a senior lecturer at the Department of Chemistry, Anna University, Chennai. She has completed her PhD in the field of polymer chemistry from the University of Madras in the year 2000 and has teaching and research experience of more than 10 years. Her research interests are in the following fields: fuel cells for clean energy, functional membranes for desalination, and polymers for biomedical applications. She has published more than 20 research articles in national and international journals and has more than 40 research articles in national and international proceedings. Presently, she is guiding 6 research scholars for their doctoral degree.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series on the topic of solar energy. Today we are going to see the part 5. In the part 4 of this solar energy topic, we have enormously discussed about the working principle, mechanism and functioning of the photovoltaic cell, which is supposed to be the second type of photoconversion method for converting your solar energy directly into electricity. And we also touched upon the various materials that are used for constructing the photovoltaic cell, namely the importance of silicon crystal and its other forms we have seen, how efficiently they are being utilized for harnessing this particular solar energy. Then at the end of the last part, we have touched upon the historical developments happening in terms of various generations associated with the development of the solar cells, and what is the real impact that has taken place in such a kind of research and developmental activities pertaining to solar energy usage, and how do we bring the cost efficiency, how do we extract the maximum amount of energy and improvement or increase in the efficiency factor. All these things were dealt in a very brief manner. Let us touch upon all these factors once again in a deeper fashion in this particular part 5. So, coming to the utility, that is for our applications, how are we going to convert this photovoltaic cell for our various application or needs. So, they are available as what is called photovoltaic cell, they are available as photovoltaic module, they are called as panels, and finally they form what is called the arrays. There is a basic difference between all these 4 kinds, that is starting from the basic photovoltaic cell, how it becomes a module, how it becomes a panel, and finally array, and how an array is going to facilitate you to harness larger power which can be further stored or utilized for various functionings. Let us now see the difference between all these 4. The amount of current that is produced by a photovoltaic cell, we have seen this already, basically depends on 3 important essential factors. Number 1 is the efficiency or the performance of the photovoltaic cell itself. Number 2 is the intensity of the striking sunlight, that is how much amount or the concentrated amount of the sun radiation that is going to fall on your photovoltaic cell. Its intensity is also a determining factor, and thirdly the area, the surface area on which the sunlight is going to fall upon. This amount of energy which is going to fall upon on a larger area, how do we cover that larger area, how do we extract the energy by converting the energy that is going to fall on a larger scale or larger area, for which only we get this cell becoming module and becoming array and so on. Now, a photovoltaic cell can typically produce or generate direct current which is going to belong to the region or range of 0.5 to 0.6 volts. Hence, by increasing this amount of voltage will not be sufficient enough to fetch all our needs. We have to increase the power output. How do we do that? Hence, by increasing the surface area, it is possible to increase the quantity of current that is going to be produced by the photovoltaic cell. So, by simply increasing the area which is going to directly contribute to the amount of current that is going to be produced by the photovoltaic cell, you can contribute, you can increase the area and increase the amount of current that is going to be produced. So, this is one way of increasing the output. This is based on the surface area. Similarly, based on the number of cells, that is more the photovoltaic cells, more is going to be your voltage, and hence the voltage also in turn contributes to towards your enhancement in the power value. hence the power output will also be increased because of increasing the number of cells. So, there are basically two ideas. One is by increasing the surface area of the photovoltaic cell, you increase the current directly, this is your I value, and by increasing the number of photovoltaic cells, you can increase the voltage recovered, and this is your V, and hence the power output which can be generated from a system of solar cell, that is it should be a panel or array or whatever it is, when the amount of power generator is going to depend on both these values, that is your current I value which depends on the surface area of the cell, and the voltage V value which is going to depend on the number of such solar cells available. Hence, there is a possibility to multiply this value by multifolds, so that ultimately you contribute towards the amount of power that is going to be the output from a photovoltaic device. In order to increase the quantity of current, number of solar cells can be connected in series. So, we want all the cells to be connected in series, so that the electron moves from one cell to the other cell. So, that is called a stack. So, a series of solar cells can be connected, and such a series can be once again mounted on a common base or a common framework in order to produce higher voltage values. Such an arrangement of a number of solar cells that are connected with each other in a series fashion and are being mounted with a common base is called a photovoltaic module. Hence, number of photovoltaic cells combine to form what is called the photovoltaic module. Similarly, it is possible to connect a number of solar cells in parallel fashion also, which can also yield higher current. Hence, in order to have a series of connection or a connection which is going to happen in a parallel fashion, you require a common base framework, and this framework which is going to give the area for assembling your number of photovoltaic cells together in order to gain more energy from it. Such an arrangement you call it as photovoltaic module. Now, how this module is getting converted to panel and further to arrays. A number of such modules, photovoltaic modules, can once again be assembled in another unit that can be directly installed into the field area, and such an arrangement where you have got number of modules is called photovoltaic panel. Once again, large number of modules and panels can once again be interconnected in series or in a parallel fashion and can finally be assembled into a form of power generating unit. Finally, a power generating unit is the one which is going to have large number of photovoltaic cells that are grouped down into a number of photovoltaic modules which are assembled in a fashion called photovoltaic panels, and number of panels together is going to be available as an assembly in a particular photovoltaic device. So, large number of modules and panels can then be interconnected in series or parallel fashion and are assembled to form a power generating unit with a desired amount of output, the DC voltage and the current. This is finally called as the photovoltaic array. So, photovoltaic array is the final terminology that is used for the availability of all these solar cells in an array fashion, which is going to be used in a photovoltaic device. Having seen the conversion right from how the photovoltaic cell combines to form a module and how it combines to form a panel, and then finally array, how this is being called as a photovoltaic device, let us look into some photographs of such photovoltaic modules, arrays and so on. And this is one good picture which gives the image of Nellis solar power plant situated in United States, which is supposed to be one of the largest photovoltaic power plants in the northern part of America. Here is another picture which shows the arrangement of solar panels which are available in an array. This is one more image of solar panels arranged in various arrays to capture the solar power. Now, let us look into few photographs or pictures of solar energy devices. This is the picture of a solar aircraft. This is a refrigerator, a solar refrigerator, which directly uses the solar power for its functioning. A solar vehicle, a space vehicle that goes to a Mars, it is an imaginary picture. Another picture of a solar village in Africa. So many countries, so many villages are fed with solar power because of various reasons. For example, these are all remote areas where the power lines and cables cannot be taken to the places where the energy is needed. Hence, in such villages and remote areas and desert areas, it is very useful to have solar panels to produce energy rather than taking a very costful process of drawing the electric power cables to those regions. And the solar panels which are in use, this is a picture of that. Because of their current costs, cost is one particular factor which is denying the complete commercialization of solar energy power. So, because of their current costs, only rural and, as I have said, other customers who are far away from the power lines use the solar panels, because it is more cost effective when you are going to go for a solar panel than extending their cost for receiving the power lines. So, wherever it is proved that the conventional methods are very costly, yes, those areas it is possible to afford for a solar panel, so that you get the energy in a lower cost. Already a number of utility based companies are working out for purchasing, for installing and maintaining too for a number of PV home based systems. Coming to the efficiency and the disadvantages associated with your solar cells, the overall efficiency that could be obtained especially in the already available solar cells is only about 10 to 14%. That means it is very less. The capital cost involved is also much higher. It is greater than the conventional coal fired power plants. Hence, there is a reluctancy in getting ourselves shifted to such a renewable, eco-friendly method of solar energy because of the capital cost that is involved. The capital cost is greater than the existing conventional method of coal fired power plants, despite the no cost for fuel, for ash disposal and the stack emissions. So, all these are all the disadvantages of the conventional methods, where you have the cost that is that has to be spent for the purchase of the fuel and the cost that is involved for the disposal of the degraded waste and the ash materials, and the environmental impact that is due to the emission of various sulfur and nitrogen oxides, your carbon dioxide and so on. Based on all these deficient factors, although they have got so many disadvantages associated with your conventional coal fired power plants, still because of the one important factor, that the capital cost involved in a solar panel or fabrication of a solar device is very high, people are still yet to afford for such a system, and things will slowly definitely change in a period of time. And the capital costs are expected to decline definitely as more and more power towers are going to be built with greater technological advances. Hence, a large amount of technological advances are marching in the research and developmental activities, not only to bring down the cost, but also to improve the efficiency of the performance of a solar voltaic cell. Hence, definitely the time will answer how effectively such solar systems can be made into our regular conventional methods of power generators. Now, thought about the solar energy. Although we have the argument that the sun provides power only during the daytime, the sun provides energy only during the daytime, this is an argument which can be debated, is countered by the fact that 70% of the energy demand is during the daytime hours. We can always claim that there is a lot of energy demand that is available during the daytime rather than the night time. Hence, during the daytime, since we have the solar sun with us, we can harness this larger amount of utility, that is 70% of the energy can be fed from the sun during the daytime hours, and during the night time probably we can go for the traditional methods which can be used to generate the electricity for our various needs. Of course, we need to believe that goal of all of us is only to reduce our dependence on the existing fossil fuels. The dependence on the fossil fuels should come down, and there should be a way out to go towards the change over from the conventional non-renewable methods of energy protection to the renewable methods of energy protection, where we have the solar power as the best answer for such a changeover technology or changeover energy system. Also, we have to remember it mitigates the effect of acid rain, carbon dioxide and other impacts of burning coal, and counters risks associated with the nuclear energy. In spite of arguing that we have large amount of energy in the daytime and night time we can get shifted to the traditional methods, we have to remember that we have to reduce the dependence on the fossil fuels. Above all these factors, the most important factor is the environmental impact. We are polluting the environment because of the conventional methods and technologies that are available, which has got a serious effect in terms of acid rain, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide emission, global warming and other kinds of environmental impacts. We must remember at this point that solar energy is the best answer for reducing all these ill effects. Also, we have to know that the solar power or the solar energy is entirely totally pollution free and is also available in a sustainable fashion, that is, it is indefinitely sustainable. There is no end for the solar power. So, we need to look into such things where how do we make use of such a freely and abundantly available solar power which has got no depletion, which has got no end for it. It is highly sustainable and we should work towards bringing this solar power for our various utilizations. Let us have a short break and then continue with the talk. Welcome back after the short break. We were talking about the usefulness, importance and the significance of why do we have to go for the solar power, and a little bit continuation of that. Another important thought is based on the 24/7 solar power which is available round the clock. This could be the best solution for our all energy needs. How do we go about this 24/7 solar power which is available round the clock? Probably following are the few steps which we can follow. Firstly, the daytime electricity can be obtained from the solar panels, and this energy can either be directly used for our applications or it can be stored too. And then the excess amount of electricity or the stored electrical form of energy can be used to split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen in a device called electrolyzer. Electrolyzer, otherwise called as water electrolyzer, is that particular device where you can make use of the electricity to break down or decompose the water molecule, which is very abundantly and freely available once again, where you can split the water molecule into what is called the hydrogen and your oxygen. Once you are able to split the water molecule with the help of the electricity, of course, you need energy for such a decomposition process to take place. So, for facilitating the electrolysis process, the water electrolysis process, you need to make use of such energy which are already stored, which have been obtained from the solar power, let me say, and this energy is useful in breaking down the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, where hydrogen is the clean energy carrier. When this hydrogen is able to be stored safely and used in our various other devices where hydrogen can go as a fuel, once again energy can be produced there also. So, the excess amount or the stored electricity can be used in order to split the water molecule into hydrogen, which can be stored, and into oxygen in an electrolyzer device. And when it is going to be dark in the night time, the stored energy which is already stored, for example, in the form of hydrogen, as we have seen in the step 2, can be utilized in a device like fuel cell to generate electricity. So, a fuel cell is a device, it is an electrochemical device which converts the chemical energy or the energy stored in the hydrogen directly into electricity. So, this is one way of storing the hydrogen which is obtained due to the solar power, and easily using the hydrogen as a fuel for the working of the fuel cell, which in turn generates the electricity. Such a working can be framed for the night time requirements or during the dark time requirements where the sun power is directly not available. And we have to mention here that the only byproduct that is obtained from the fuel cell is once again the simple water molecule, which can again be recycled or reused. Hence, there is no polluting effect due to the fuel cell activity too. So, a complete cycle which is going to be totally eco-friendly can be thought of. How do we go about is so important. So, we make use of the solar energy, convert them into useful form of energy, store them in the form of electricity, and the electricity can be further utilized for the functioning of the fuel cell to produce hydrogen, to use the hydrogen to form the water, and your electricity is generated there. And once your fuel cell is activated, the electricity is available for the dark regions, dark areas, and again during the daytime again the solar power can be harnessed. Such a cycle can be thought of in a long run, in a long way, which can completely solve all our kinds of energy related problems. Another example to highlight the importance of solar energy is that even the wind energy that is available can also be harnessed in many ways to obtain the energy in the form of electricity from the wind energy. But we should remember that wind energy is also one of the form of solar energy. The wind has got its energy only because of sun. How they are happening is because the solar energy is available, the radiation is going to fall on the earth's surface, and when it is going to fall on the land, earth's surface, there is an heating up that is taking place, and due to the heat up of the atmosphere just above the land area on the earth's surface, the heated up air rises up because its density comes down, and when the heated atmosphere is going to go up, the circulation of the wet or the more dense air comes down, or the atmosphere just above the water bodies, sea and ocean areas which are already cooler when compared to the hot air, is going to get shifted from their region to the warmer places. Hence, there is always a circulation or movement of air is going to take place, which is nothing but the cause for the wind. And once the wind is available, they have their own potential, they have their own force, and they are available in the form of the energy. So, this form of wind energy can also be harnessed for our various utilities. Hence, we can never forget or we can never deny that wind energy, which is also available as one of the form of renewable energy in our earth's crust, is basically primarily due to the solar energy or the solar power, which is a cause for the heating up process and the movement of wind happening in our earth's system. Wind is basically driven due to the solar heating. That is what I have explained you now. They are the largest and fastest growing solar energy conversion device, wind turbine device. These are the photographs of a wind farm and wind turbine. So, we are able to harness this wind energy for our electricity generation. Now, there are certain problems associated with the solar energy. Of course, to look into few of them, they are not available throughout the day. They are not there during the night time, and during the winter season, depending on the climate and weather changes, they are not available throughout the day. And second important problem is the intensity variation during different times of years. Every day is not going to be equal in all fashion. The intensity of the sunlight is going to vary from one day to the other day, from a period to another period, from a season to another season. Throughout the year, it is not going to be uniform. The best solution for such things are, you can have a storage battery which can be used to store the solar energy, and a charge controller would pave a way for these solutions. Charge controller may be used to maintain the proper charging voltage on the batteries, and brighter sunlight produces more voltage which may damage the battery. This will have to be remembered when you handle the charge controllers. So, a storage battery would be the best solution for storing your energy when there is a seasonal and climatic and geographical changes that are happening in the earth. Some of the importance of the photovoltaic cells. Solar energy concept is very important in a country like ours, India, because of the following facts. Abundant sunshine throughout the year is available, almost about 2000 kilowatt hour per square meter per year, with 200 to 300 days of sunshine available in a year can be harnessed, is available. Fast depletion of the current energy sources which are basically coming from coal, lignite, your petrol, diesel and so on. This will have to be remembered, and the depletion is going to give end up with a problem for our next generation energy systems. Solar energy which are being inexhaustible, and renewable sources of energy should really be given a good thought for getting shifted from the conventional methods to the renewable methods. The PV technology involves definitely no threats, no harmful emissions are made, and transformations of matters are also not there. It is a very simple technology where there is no pollution, no emission of gases takes place, and it is a very healthy, eco-friendly technology or process available to harness the energy. Now, some more importance about the PV cells. Solar energy conversions are highly modular. They are also modular and can provide energies for remote areas too. The word modular means the solar photovoltaic devices can be manufactured in a small power system or in a bigger power system depending on the surface area of the panels and the number of cells used for developing your device. So, you can produce micro watt power to megawatt powers, and more than that also it is possible. Hence, it is highly modular. It can provide energies for very remote areas where the conventional technologies cannot be utilized. The PV technology considerably helps in reducing the ill effects like global warming, which are caused due to the carbon dioxide production in our conventional methods. PV technology is a very safe method. It is safer as it operates at optimal temperature, and another point about this PV technology is that there is no involvement of increase in temperature. You are only making use of the ambient conditions for storing, producing your energy for our requirements. Hence, risk factors are well reduced. Recurring operational cost is also lesser when compared to the capital cost. Of course, they are higher, and the installation can be made faster and easier when you are going to take the technology to higher scales, larger scales. Coming to the drawbacks of photovoltaic cells, sunlight is available in diffused manner in nature. This is one of the major disadvantage of the solar power. Because it is available in the diffused, less concentrated manner, they will have to be concentrated, they will have to be focused in order to develop higher temperature, so that you produce larger amount of energy by focusing the sunlight into one particular point or a central focus, which can be easily done by making use of parabolic mirrors, which we have seen in the some of the earlier episodes, and they can be directed into the direction of the sunlight, and you can have a focused and concentrated form of solar power being used. And another drawback is their availability. Availability of sunlight is not uniform, it is not consistent, it varies from region to region, it varies in the same region over a period of time. All these will have to be taken into account. And their capital cost, as already been discussed, is expensive. When it is going to be put in a large scale production, probably we can reduce the cost factor also. Installation cost should also be given more attention to bring down their cost, and the efficiency is the most important point. Other than the cost, the efficiency of conversion of the light into electricity is comparatively lower or lesser right now. Attention should be put in order to increase the efficiency or the performance of the photovoltaic cell too. Coming to the applications of photovoltaic cells, they are being used in various fields like domestic, in lighting, grinding, radios, televisions and refrigerators, In the field of agriculture, they are used for irrigation, watering, milling and milking activities. They are being used in space, shuttles and satellites, and other services would include education, religious and cultural activities, health centers, communications, and so on. Solar cells can provide electric power to remote areas, run water pumps in a desert area, provide pure drinking water through distillation, etc. All these are possible because of the photovoltaic cells. Coming to the materials for the solar cells to work needs an efficient light absorbing substance that can absorb photons of sunlight and generate the electrons by the phenomenon of photoelectric effect. The most commonly used absorbing materials are silicon and germanium, which belongs to the first category or first generation solar cells. Thin films of inorganic layers, organic dyes or even organic polymer layers coated and deposited on the supporting substrates are being developed in the second category. Now, in the third category or third generation, importance have been given for nanocrystals embedded on a supporting medium or matrix. Now, as a summary of this particular part 5, we have done with what is called a photovoltaic cell, how they are different from a module, panel and an array. We have also looked into the pictures of some solar energy devices and how the wind energy is primarily sourced from solar energy we have analyzed, and finally we touched upon the problems, importance, drawbacks, applications and few final thoughts about the solar power. Here are few questions. Distinguish between a solar cell, module, panel and an array. What are the common problems of harvesting solar energy? Name some energy devices, solar energy devices that are already in use, and what are the big challenges ahead in using solar energy for our future needs. To leave few final thoughts and message with you, remember sunlight gives us far more energy than we ever need if we can just catch hold of them enough of it. Solar power will become as economical and efficient as the present generation conventional fossil fuels in our future. Thank you.